Hi everyone! Welcome to Artsonia's After School Art Club. Today, we have a fun art project from Shannon Wood, an art teacher from Maryland. Hope you enjoy the video, and don't forget to have your artwork uploaded to your Artsonia gallery.
Hi, my name is Shannon Wood, and I'm the art teacher here at Middletown Elementary School. And I'm going to be creating a series of videos for you so that you can learn to create art through Artsonia's After School Art Club. So you can create these projects at home, over the summer, at your own time and leisure. Feel free to pause the video at any time to get caught up, and hopefully we're going to have a good time. All right, so let's get started. Alright, to make your clay cupcake, you're going to need a few supplies. First off, you're going to want to get some air-dried clay. I'm going to use this Crayola air-dried clay. You can find it at a lot of different craft stores and superstores. Alright, you're also going to need a cup of water and a sponge. You're going to want some paints to paint your finished project with. You can either use watercolors, you can use tempera paints, you can use acrylic paints. Any paints you have on hand will work just fine. All right, you're also going to need an old toothbrush, one that you're no longer brushing your teeth with. And then a paintbrush, an older paintbrush too, that you don't care about as much. All right, and then a few miscellaneous tools you could add. If you have a knife or an X-Acto knife, those are nice for cutting pieces of clay. You can use old marker caps for making circles and things like that. You can use forks or other pieces of plastic silverware or real silverware if your parents are okay with it, for making marks. A skewer is nice to have. These can be found at the grocery store, and they can help make really fine lines or even to carve your name on the bottom. All right, and then some traditional clay tools like these can be purchased if you'd like, but they aren't necessary. All right, so just gather some old different things around your house. Cookie cutters work well. Look through the kitchen for old things. Go to yard sales, things like that, and see if you can't find things that could help you make marks in your clay. All right, let's get started. All right, the first thing you're going to want to do is open your tub and pull out a piece of clay that you can use to start making your pinch pots. We're going to need to make 2 pinch pots. So I'm going to pull off a chunk, set that aside, and I'm going to pull off another chunk, and I'm going to leave that chunk in the container ready for me next time, because we want to keep this moist, otherwise it's going to dry out. So close your container up real well until you're ready to make that second pinch pot. Right, and I'm going to start molding it. Kind of working it in between my hands. All right, I've also placed a piece of fabric on my table so it doesn't stick to my tabletop surface and keeps my tabletop surface clean. All right, so I'm just kind of pounding it in between my hands. Now I'm going to stick my thumb right into the center of the clay and make a hole like that. Okay. Now I'm going to start pinching around that hole. And as you can see, I'm using the other hand too to kind of work my way up from the bottom. Before you start working on clay, you should probably remove any jewelry you're wearing. And you should cut your fingernails so that they don't make marks and grooves in your clay. So this is going to be the top of my cupcake, like that. Alright, so I'm going to make my pinch pot. So this pinch pot can be a little bit bigger than your next pinch pot. And you can like tap it against the tabletop to make sure you have a nice So there you have it. There's your first pinch pot, and that's going to be the top of your cupcake. So that's finished. Next, I'm going to make a frosting for the top of my cupcake, like that. So I'm going to roll out a piece of clay. Once again, just like I did the first time, but this time I can be a little bit flatter. And if you have a rolling pin, that would be great for this, but I'm going to show you, you don't have to have one. So I'm going to take the palm of my hand and I'm going to smash my disc, pressing down on my hand. And now I've got a nice flat slab. Alright, so this is my cupcake top, and I want to create that look of like some whipped cream or frosting or whatever you want to think of it as on top of my cupcake. Alright, so I need to draw out my shape. So I'm going to use my skewer, and I'm just going to start making and then you can just set it on top like that. That's where it's going to sit. Now we need those to attach to each other though. In order to do that, we need to slip and score. And that is where your toothbrush comes in and your fork. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make some grooves with our fork on both pieces that we're going to attach together. You don't want the grooves to be so deep that you go through your pinch pot or through your piece of icing, but you do want some grooves there. All right, take your excess clay and kind of ball it up so it doesn't dry out on you over on the side, because we're going to make a cherry out of that. So now I'm going to take my toothbrush, I'm going to wet it, and I'm going to scrub it into those grooves. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. And this is called slipping and scoring. And I'm going to take the two pieces now, and I'm going to join them, pressing down. And now I have some icing there. Now, if you start to notice little cracks, you can wet your finger and you can kind of roll your finger over top of the clay and remove any cracks or anything that you don't want to see. All right, we're now ready to make the cherry on top. So using that extra clay that we had left over, or if you need to, go back to your container for some more. I'm going to make another ball. Once again, rolling it between my hands or rolling it on the table. Just like so. And I'm going to kind of measure that out. That looks way too big. So to fix it, I'm going to take my X-Acto knife. If you have a plastic knife, that works just as well. And I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to set one half aside. Close up that razor blade for safety. But like I said, a plastic knife, like these plastic forks, you know, they have plastic knives, that would work just fine. You don't need a razor blade. That's just what I happen to have on hand. All right. That looks better. It's okay if it's a little exaggerated, right? Once again, same thing. This time I might use the skewer to do my slipping and scoring instead of the fork, just because this is a smaller area. So I might gouge into my clay ball here. And then do the same thing on top of the icing where I'm going to attach. And then I'm going to use my toothbrush, do a little bit of scrubbing, and stick it on. Alright, so slipping and scoring is important. If you don't slip and score, when these dry, these pieces are going to come apart. Alright, so that so far can be my completed top. The rest of the details I added with paint and pipe cleaners. But you can always take the excess clay and add even more details. Oh, I forgot. Because I like to put a little pipe cleaner on the top here, I'm going to make a little skewer hole. Like so. So that I can stick a little pipe cleaner in the top there when I'm done. Okay. Alright, so with the clay I have left, I think I'm going to make some sprinkles. So I'm just going to cut off a chunk, and then I'm going to cut off little pieces. And like I said, this can be done with a plastic knife if you have plastic knives, or if you have Play-Doh tools. Alright, so I have now finished the top of my cupcake. That aside, and I want it to be standing upside down the way it's going to be displayed. All right, now we're ready to make our cupcake holder that's going to go underneath our cupcake, the little paper piece. All right, so we're going to need to make another pinch pot for that. It's supposed to sit inside this so that we could create a container, so it needs to be a little smaller. So grab another chunk of clay, this time more like a golf ball size instead of a baseball size, something smaller. Once we have a nice ball, we're going to take our thumb and we're going to press it into the center again. We're making that pinch pot shape. And then using your thumb and your fingers, you're going to pinch around the rim. And I'm going to measure it by picking up my original piece and setting it over top. That looks like it's going to be just fine. Of course, you can flip it over and tap the rim. Alright, we're going to start making these grooves in the side of your cupcake container. Alright, to make those cupcake grooves, I'm going to take the end of my tool here and I'm just going to make lines. Alright, so now I have my cupcake top and my cupcake bottom. I now need to just set these aside and let them dry. Alright, once your cupcake is dry, you can paint it. I just used a tempera paint, but an acrylic paint works as well. Alright, and you paint all over. You want to paint the whole inside of the pot. You don't need to paint the bottom. And then I painted our cherry and our icing and our frosting and the cherry, and I stuck a little pipe cleaner in the top. You don't need to paint the inside. And then the two of them sit together like that, making a cupcake. Alright, so there's my finished cupcake. Alright, thank you for joining me.